Hey, my name is Vasiliy, and I'm going to tell you about the impact liquid staking can have on Ethereum security in the age of proof of stake on Ethereum. You can understand where I'm coming from here. I'm CTO of P2P.org, a pretty prominent staking provider. So we do staking for a long time and pretty good at it. And I'm a co-founder of Lido, the leading liquid staking solution on Ethereum, and tech lead of Lido, basically. Lido is a DAO that builds a family of liquid staking protocols. Starting with Ethereum liquid staking protocol, we have our headquarters on Ethereum, and that's our main thing that we do. We've got, just yesterday, we've got about 650,000 Ether and stake. And we've got 9 node operators among the best in the space. The talk is about, from the first principle, what's staking, what's liquid staking, how liquid staking impact the security properties of the protocol, what's the solution space to have the best impact, and what the end game for Lido. So the staking basically is a crypto economic primitive that's used basically everywhere these days, from financial protocols to network protocols, etc. And the gist of it, you lock up some capital, and you maybe perform some work on behalf of the protocol, and maybe you set yourself up for extra risk, and in the end you get rewards. The second and third steps are optional. For example, in DeFi Summer, we've seen completely riskless and workless staking, like people were locking up like USDC and getting some food coins in return. This is optional, but locking up capital is the core of the staking primitive in financial protocols, as well as getting rewards. So here I'm talking about the basic staking when the person stake themselves without any delegator or service provider to help them. It's a pretty great primitive. As we see, it's used everywhere these days. That's because it works. Why? Because the most important thing it does is value alignment. So when you lock your capital, you are it's locked. You can't do anything with it. You're aligned. You want the price of your locked asset to go up. So you are value aligned with the protocol where it's the main asset. That's why staking works. It also can provide direct incentives to work well and direct risk management. So if you are getting rewards on your stake tokens for good work you do, if that works evaluate properly, the better you do it, the better rewards you get. And you can manage your risk. If you expose yourself to additional risk, you can, if that's proof of stake consensus protocol, you can run it not better. You can have more security there. You can have 24-hour alerts or something to be better at it. You manage risk. The cons are the basic act of staking is allocating capital, that locking capital. And people who have a lot of capital, they don't want to work really. They want their numbers go up and right. But a lot of time, the staking involves a pretty complicated work to do that require skill, that require some operational capacity and things like that. And this rarely coincides with a lot of money, basically. People who are in business of capital allocation do that well, but not other things. So that results in basic staking protocol in low participation and low quality of this participation. People who stake directly are, well, they usually don't when they need to do the work and expose themselves to risks. It's complicated. don't want to do that. And when they do, it's often like super. They're not very good at it. Another like second order effect is the direct staking is not compatible with DeFi. Tarun wrote a great paper on that about the gist of it, that people stake for rewards. That's the economic incentive for them to do it, the rational incentive. And when DeFi yields are higher, they stop staking. And if for example, network security depends on the amount of stake, which it does in Ethereum's case, for example. The success of a network as economic primitive, as economic space, directly opposes the security of it. So it's not great. So the next step in evolution of staking protocol, maybe not evolution, that's development probably. It's not strictly better, it's just how things are mostly done right now, is delegation, where people lock up capital but delegate the work and the risks to some other person, like node operator, professional staking provider, a manager or something. So they're getting rewards, and the delegate takes some fee. The pros of this is it's much easier. It's just better product. People delegate when they can in general, because staking is hard. When there is some work involved, it's hard. People don't want to do work. They want to find someone to work for them. So that's what delegation is, and it's much easier and cheaper for stakers. And it has still value alignment, because you're still locking up capital and you are stuck with it, and you want your numbers go up. So. And that results in more capital staked. And the work is performed better because it's performed by professionals. And that resulted in an emergent staking provider community that had been a very good thing for the industry, in my opinion. The problems here is, the first most important one is principal agent problem. So we have a principal, a person who stakes the capital, and an agent, a staking provider who works but has much less risk and is much less interested, directly aligned with the staker here. The risk management is also delegated, which is not great for the network generally, and it still doesn't have a good compatibility with DeFi. And another thing that is less often talked about is that there is, in delegation, there is a natural centralization drive that is completely rational, because it's basically the result of prisoner's dilemma. So when you stake with a delegate, you can choose the best delegate you know, who gets the most rewards and has the least risk out of all. And if you do that, you maximize your own rewards, you minimize your own risk, but you centralize the network, because like if there is obviously best node operator, everyone who does that will stake with them, and the stake will be centralized. That's often not very not often. Sometimes it's not a problem when, for example, staking doesn't require is not a prerequisite for security of the network. But very often decentralization of stake is desired in protocol. So, or you can basically comply. You can distribute a stake to subpar, maybe not subpar, maybe good, but second place, third place, like 10th place node operators. You take on more risk and you get less rewards, but you make my network a bit better, a bit more decentralized. The saving grace here in most protocol is that staking providers are not very differentiated. So there is no clear best one. And that results in somewhat decentralized stake. But there is, so it's a weak form of the game, but it is there. So what's liquid staking? Liquid staking is taking the first point of staking, the locking up capital, out of a caution. When you tokenize a staking position, you stake, you lock up capital, but you get a voucher in return that that corresponds to your share of the to your staking position, and you can trade it, you can lock it, you can transfer it, use it in DeFi, whatever you want. It means that your capital is no longer locked, so it runs counter to the basic mechanism in some forms, but it's just a better product for people, because unlocking staking capital, making it productive, is very desirable for people. So the pros of liquid staking is that is DeFi compatible. It's got a lower drive for centralization at staking level. That means that when you're staking a liquid staking protocol provider, or not necessarily protocol, you can distribute your stake because you're so big that you can coordinate yourself in President's Dilemma and comply like by yourself. There is some still value alignment, and even more stake is locked, which is usually good. The cons here is that liquid staking usually has winner takes all dynamics. The reason is liquid staking is not very differentiated. If there are multiple liquid staking products, they are similar or very similar, and the only real differentiating qualities there are fees that are easily to that come into equilibrium eventually, and liquidity. And liquidity begets liquidity, so it's a positive feedback loop. People use a liquid staking derivative because it's the most liquid, and it becomes more liquid in the process. And the next person also select that staking derivative. So there is positive feedback loop. That means that liquid staking will eventually win the tax most market. And principal engine problem is amplified here. So we have a user that has capital, the staker, and we have a liquid staking protocol that is an agent of the user. And that liquid staking protocol delegates the stake to a node operator. So we have two levels of indirect alignment, and that is often a problem. Delegations are inevitable, and liquid staking is inevitable. It's so much better the product for people that it will happen no matter what. The regular staking doesn't have a chance in capturing most stake. We can compare like an impossible solution of people who stake on their own laptops or something like that, but that's not going to happen. The decision space, the space of outcomes here is very limited to solutions that have some form of liquid staking and some form of liquidation, because that's the natural market-driven force here. And you can't really fight that in protocol. That's a common theme with like naive staking protocols of 2017, 18, before Cosmos and Tezos came out, that made a lot of in-protocol decisions to align stakers with users or the node operators, and to limit how staking can be done. The thing is, protocol is not self-contained. The best example of liquid, the most prominent, the most widespread liquid staking available right now is liquid staking on exchanges. It happens right now for every staking coin in existence, including Ethereum. People are trusting their capital to a custodial exchange, and exchange stakes it and circumvents any in-protocol restrictions. The good example is, for example, in Tezos, there is a self-bond mechanism. That means that staking provider, in order to serve the clients, they have to put up a self-bond, their own bond, their own money. That will get slashed if they get slashed. So they get the first order consequences of their own misbehavior. It's been a shot in the leg of independent node operators, because node operators are usually not very rich. They don't have a lot of self-bond. But exchanges, that's 5 lines of code to them. They are complete control of user funds. They use users' funds as self-bond. And they're in much better position in the results. So when designing staking protocols or working with staking protocols, so you have to think how out-of-protocol solution like custodial or threshold signature decentralized solution will work with that. So that's how Ethereum stake distribution looks right now. The biggest like known blob that is known to us in staking is you can see that's exchanges. That's Kraken takes like 12% of stake single-handedly, and that's the result of the drive to have a liquid staking derivative and delegation, the feature that lag from basic Ethereum protocol. So what we got to choose here is the flavor of liquid staking we're getting and how we get there. And that's not a trivial thing to decide. So what's the decision space? The protocol can be custodial or non-custodial. Custodial like exchanges, or non-custodial like decentralized in some form, like smart contract on Ethereum or Thor chain like protocol or something like that. It can be in protocol developed, for example, for Ethereum, it can be developed as smart contract, or it can be out of protocol, like custodial liquid staking exchanges or TSS-based solution like Ren or Thor chain again. It can be mutable or governable, mutable in some form. Permissionless for node operators or gated, and node operators can be bonded or unbonded. Some flavors are like very clearly better than others for the protocol. I mean, so for example, non-custodial is no-brainer and it should be in protocol, but best flavors are expensive. The more node operators you have, the more expensive it is to run them. Decentralized protocol require more research and development than regular code on like on closed network that use externally owned TDRS. It's more expensive to run. There is less revenue usually in non-custodial solution because custodial solution can have a lot of vertically integrated stack, like they get staking fees and trading fees are so much more than rewards usually. So there is just more money to be had by exchanges here. It's slower to move, there is more risk, smart contract risk is not negligible, and less capital efficiency in case of bonded. The good thing is many expenses are flat, not scaled, so they can be sucked up by a sufficiently rich project, and some other can be scaled along with the amount of money available to the protocol. So what is my opinion is the best option here? I think the best option for liquid staking protocol that can eventually be the winner takes most, winner of that winner takes most dynamics is non-custodial, in protocol, mostly immutable and mostly permissionless and mostly unbonded protocol. The reason for that is, well, non-custodial in protocol is no-brainer. It's pretty clear that to be aligned with the protocol, with Ethereum, for example, Ethereum liquid staking protocol should be non-custodial and protocol. I don't think that fully immutable solution is possible here because the base layer is mutable, is governable, and it's upgrades. But the mutability and governance can be very much limited by time locks, by some voting wakes or something like that. So it can be not immutable, but the changes can be telegraphed from along the way, and people will have the chance to opt out. Mostly permissionless, because again, I don't believe in fully permissionless protocol here, because the staking is where the crypto economics touch the mid space, and mid space is by the node operators are the most important thing is in liquid staking protocol, in any staking protocol. So, and it's very hard to choose them for value alignment, etc. So I think that there will be some slightly gated form of admissibility for node operators, and mostly unbonded because bonding is very capital inefficient. Protocol that has a full bonding, they can't win because they can't grow, and that means that some other liquid staking solution will grow faster, and the winner takes most dynamics means that if you don't grow fast enough, you're out-competed. So how can Lido get this to the point? The good thing, if it does, it has the budget to cover most of these expenses, all of them. The leading liquid staking protocol can suck up a lot of inefficiency because its main mode liquidity and integrations, and it can afford to be wasteful basically in decentralization. Decentralization is not cheap. It should ossify as Ethereum staking protocol ossifies. Right now, it's changing right under us, so there is no option for that. But in a year or two, or maybe 3, the Ethereum staking will be probably more defined and less prone to changes. The decentralization must improve, mostly in form of getting more node operators and the better protocol for node operation and for admission of node operators, and reducing the governance power of Lido over liquid staking, and shift most of that power to stakers themselves, including operator selection. And the concrete steps we take in this regard. We switched our threshold signature based withdrawal credentials to smart contracts on the execution layer of Ethereum, and all new deposits are fully non-custodial since a few days ago. We are running a second round of validated state expansion that should start any day now. Working with secret shared validators team to introduce SSV to Lido eventually, and we are committed to governance minimization when it's feasible at all. And what can stakers do here? So the good thing about staking is that stakers are the main force in the protocol. They are owners of capital. They not only have a say in public spaces in Twitter or something, they can vote with their capital. If you like a protocol, you can stake with that protocol. You can stake yourself. That's your political gesture. So and push for the best possible result versus the best impossible. So that's how I see the impact of liquid staking on Ethereum. Thank you. Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about MEV in the Lido protocol?
Yeah, so the MEV part is actually pretty simple here. So with unlike with miners, the stakers are the stakers decide what happens with MEV. The Ethereum holders basically decide what happens with MEV. When there are multiple liquid staking pools or just staking pools, the ones that on one hand provides additional profit to the stakers in form of like MEV instruction, on the other hand do it in a way that doesn't hurt the network very much, or like better doesn't hurt the network at all. They will attract more stakers because stakers want their network healthy and they want to take a profit. So there is like only one stable point in this decision space where staking pool extracts MEV, but not in a bad way, right? And distributed mostly to stakers. On practicalities of that, I think that it's going to be like staking pools will outsource the extraction, like miners do right now with flashbots, and it's probably going to be flashbots, honestly. And because the extraction itself is a core competency for those groups that don't a lot of people just don't possess. It's just a combination of you being very smart and not sleeping for 3 months straight that most people can't do, right? So it has to be outsourced because it's a very difficult field operation. Okay, looks like that's it. Thank you for coming.